All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. This is the Finance Committee meeting of March 27th, 2025. I would like to note that this meeting is in person and is being recorded. So first item on the agenda is review of the fiscal year 26 warrant review.
So, Mr. Chairman, we have some of the articles that are ready for review in the warrant. The committee can look at those tonight. We're still working out those, the remainder of the warrant articles. So I'd say in the next couple of weeks, those will be finished. So if the committee wants to look at the warrant tonight, we have it. Also, we have the budgetary topics and the Finance Committee report to town meeting from last year that we can look at. So we can start with the warrant.
Okay, Article 1.
Article 1. Yeah.
Are we gonna, can we vote on this one?
You want to read them or?
Yeah,
you
I'll read it. Yeah. Are we gonna be able to vote on this one? Is this the one
Yes,
that
yes.
the
Article 1 is.
dollars changed, or?
No.
No, okay. Okay, Article 1, Community Preservation Committee Administrative Budget, to see if the town will vote to appropriate from the fiscal year 2026 Community Preservation Fund annual revenues the amount of $35,000 for administrative expenses as referenced in the Community Preservation fiscal year 2026 budget.
Motion to recommend.
Motion to recommend by John,
Second.
second by Terry. Discussion?
Just
Go ahead.
a comment for the people that are viewing this meeting. There's no discussion because we've listened to Buddy Baker Smith from the CPC.
You have a presentation,
And
yeah.
asked all the questions, so it's not like we haven't done any homework on these first few
Okay.
articles. Thank you.
Okay, we're ready to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that's what,
For
660, 600, okay? Okay, now, you want to do the,
Mr. Chairman, are we writing the rationales? No, we're not writing the rationales.
I have everything written.
yeah, let's go. Yeah, might as well do it.
Yep.
I mean,
I mean, they
especially
can be
the
changed.
ones,
I have a draft written,
Yeah, the numbers might change, but the body won't.
correct.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I said was, this article appropriates Community Preservation Act revenues for CPC administrative functions in accordance with state law. This is an annual request from the CPC,
Thank you, Janine. Thank you,
Okay.
Janine.
thank you.
Sounds great.
not particularly original.
Okay,
Article 2, we're holding.
okay. Article 2 is holding.
Yep.
Okay, Article 3?
3, yes.
Okay, Article 3, Community Preservation Committee, TCV, TV renovations, Phase 3. To see if the town will vote to appropriate $29,810 from the Community Preservation Historic Preservation Reserve to the town of Dartmouth for the development of bid documents for repairs and restoration work at 247 Russell Mills Road, all in accordance with the terms and conditions of the Community Preservation Project Memorandum of Understanding and referenced in the Community Preservation Fiscal Year 2026 budget. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a
Motion to recommend.
Motion by John, second by Terry. Discussion?
I did hear Peter talk at the capital improvement meeting the
Yes,
other day about the work. And it looks like they've been very careful about the renovations. They're not spending money frivolously. He has a pretty good plan, it sounds like to me, so it was helpful to hear that from him.
Okay, but this is just for the development of documents?
Yeah, this is for the design, right? They've got.
Oh, for the
price.
design?
It was
Okay.
originally 25, and
Okay.
it came in a little bit higher, so they changed the amount.
Okay. Okay. We ready to vote?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I see none. 600. Rationale?
This article appropriates $29,810 from the Community Preservation Historic Preservation Reserve, all in accordance with the terms and conditions of the Community Preservation Memorandum of Understanding and referenced in the Community Preservation Fiscal Year 2026 budget.
Okay, we all good with that? Okay,
And
good.
Patty usually gets up and explains.
Yeah,
them,
yeah,
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Article 4, yes.
Article 4, yes, okay. Community Preservation Committee gravestone and wall restoration at Joseph Davis Cemetery. To see if the town will vote to appropriate $50,000 from the Community Preservation Historic Preservation Reserve to the Town of Dartmouth Department of Parks and Recreation for the gravestone and wall restoration at the Joseph Davis Cemetery, all in accordance with the terms and conditions of the Community Preservation Project Memorandum of Understanding and reference in the Community Preservation Fiscal 2026 budget. So we want to make a motion? Terry made a motion to accept. Seconded by Phil. Discussion? Okay, I wasn't here last week, so this is,
Cemetery on Fons Corner Road, right between.
Just north of,
Across from
Lazy
Bob's,
Boy,
isn't it?
on
Bob-
Fons Corner
Bob's.
Road.
okay.
That most of us didn't know about.
Yeah.
He wasn't sure if it was an active cemetery, but it hasn't been tended to for quite a while.
So, but the town owns it?
Yeah.
Town owns it, okay.
He said that the money was, to like fix some of the stone walls and
Yeah.
clean up the stones and
The
stuff, so.
cemetery goes back to 1791.
That's right, yeah, really old,
Okay,
It's history.
okay.
yeah.
There weren't a lot of cars going by there then.
No, it's probably hard to see it when you're zooming by.
I know, right?
Okay. All right, ready to vote?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I hear none. 600. Article 5, we ready?
Want to do the rationale?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, rationale.
This article appropriates $50,000 from the Community Preservation Historic Preservation Reserve, all in accordance with the terms and conditions of the Community Preservation Memorandum of Understanding and referenced in the Community Preservation Fiscal Year 2026 budget.
Okay.
Article 5.
Somebody's going to ask a question at the town meeting.
Well, he's
also.
gonna,
Yeah.
he's gonna give a presentation.
Everybody always gets up and doesn't.
Okay, Article 5.
Yes.
Appropriation for cemetery sale of lot fund. To see if the town will vote to appropriate and transfer a sum of $2,000 from cemetery sale of lot fund to be spent on cemetery purposes in accordance with the Massachusetts General Law, Chapters 14, Section 15 and 25.
Make a motion to approve?
Terry made a motion to approve.
I second.
Carrie second. Okay, discussion?
This is an annual item.
Yeah,
That's
this
an
is
annual-
just,
yes.
this is just housekeeping. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Right.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none. 600. Okay, rationale.
This $2,000 appropriation, which is funded by the sale of cemetery lots, will provide funds for cemetery purposes in accordance with Massachusetts general laws.
We ready for Article 6?
Yes.
Okay. Establish a fiscal year 2026 maximum spending budget for revolving funds to see if the town will vote pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53E and 1/2, and Section 37-6 of the general bylaws to determine the maximum spending limits on fiscal year 2026 for the following revolving funds, the purpose of which are detailed in Section 37-6 of the general bylaws. Name of the revolving fund, cemetery revolving fund, maximum spend amount, $4,500. Parks and Recreation revolving fund, $250,000. Library revolving fund for lost damage items, $10,000. Again, this is a housekeeping,
Yes.
housekeeping thing. It would be nice to have like last year's numbers here, but that's okay. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, Carrie made a motion to approve,
I'll second it.
second by Terry. Discussion? Okay, ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I see none. 600. Okay, obviously Article 7 is rescinded.
Rationale.
What?
Rationale.
Oh, rationale, yeah. I'm sorry.
This article allows for a maximum amount of money that can be spent in various revolving accounts. The Recreation and Park Revolving Fund allows monies to be carried over year to year and allows the recreation and park programs to be self-supporting. The Library Revolving Fund permits the library to use the revenue from fees and charges from lost or damaged materials to replace or repair them. The Cemetery Revolving Fund allows the cemeteries to capture cemetery-related revenues that would otherwise go into the general fund.
Very well written, thank you.
Pretty similar to last year's.
One second, Mr. Chairman. So this is what it was last year. 4,500, 250,000, and 3,500. The library had requested additional amounts. for
Okay,
that.
so,
Yeah,
okay.
that's what it was last year.
Last year, okay, all right, thanks.
Thank you for pulling that up.
Thanks.
Let's see, so make sure I'm on the right one here. So Article 7, we're gonna hold. What Article 7 is going to do, I just have to put the table in there. That's gonna rescind articles. There's really no dollar, it's really not money. What it does is, it's authorized but unissued articles that were voted at prior town meetings, which frees up the balance for borrowing at future town meetings. So let's say there's a project that there's $100,000 left. You haven't seen this article in a
Yeah.
while.
I was just gonna say, I don't remember seeing an
Yeah,
article
It's
like
been a while
that.
since we've had
Yeah, I've
this.
seen, yeah, a
Yeah.
long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna be cleaning up some of the
Yeah,
articles that. are
yeah,
out there.
Gary was here when we, I think the
Greg.
last time we did it, yeah.
Okay, Article 8, capital is finishing up with this.
Next week.
Yes.
Okay.
April.
Go ahead.
Article 9, so this is the elected officials and town clerk article. We can vote on that.
Okay. Article 9, salaries and stipends of elected officials. To see if the town will vote to fix the salary of elected officer of the town as provided by Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 41, Section 108, and any and all acts and amendment thereof. Town clerk, $102,685 to $106,685. And to see if the town will vote to fix the stipends of the following elected officers of the town as provided by Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 41, Section 108, and any and all acts and amendment thereof. So the people that are in the stipend category, Board of Assessors, 3, Board of Health, 3 people, Board of Labor, Board of Library Trustees, 6, Parks and Recreation Board, 5, Select Board, 5, Planning Board, 5, School Committee, 5, and Town Administrator, 1, and their stipends for fiscal year '25 is 0.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, Terry made a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Second for Carrie. Any comments or,
I have a question. Gary, in
Yes.
terms of frame of reference for this increase, it's about 4%. Is that in line with other staff? Is it too high? too low?
Well, so in the past, as we've discussed, this is supposed to mimic the steelworkers
Right,
union. I think what the town clerk did was went out to other communities our size with the similar budgets, similar population, and got an analysis, and that's how she's come up with the new amount.
But we don't know at this point what the increases are for her staff anyway. Am I correct in saying that because
No,
of?
we don't.
Right,
We're in the midst of doing a bridge contract for all the unions,
right.
so we don't know what that,
So there's no way of
what that
knowing.
would be.
I'm curious, do we know, like, how close the salary is as compared to, say, similar towns around us, Fairhaven, Westport? What they pay their
we
town
can-
clerks, do we know? I know it's public record, but do we know?
Yeah, we
it?
can get we can get the analysis that she used to come up with the dollar amount.
Fairhaven's probably not a good comparison because
Not a
it's
good
much
comparison.
smaller.
That's-
I think she
that's
went to
fair.
towns
to
that
go
were
to-
similar in
That were
budget.
larger,
They
yeah.
use
Yeah.
they use a comparable list
Yeah.
of communities.
Yeah. It would be nice to see it next year, just so that we, so we
Yeah.
can show the town that it's justifiable.
She did talk about this when, I remember her at the town meeting on
2 years
stage
ago.
answering questions and
Yeah.
explaining how she came up with it. I just
do
wanted to
remember.
make sure that it was in the range of what other people are
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 3.9%.
Yeah. Yeah,
Go ahead, John.
So I'm sensing we're gonna hold off on this for more information, if we're gonna look
no,
for more.
I
don't need
I
more
was just curious
information.
maybe for future
Yeah.
years, but for me, I don't.
Yeah,
I
and I'm
don't
sure
feel
if
the
town
need to
meeting
hold off.
does ask, she's prepared to speak on behalf of it. They believe she did last year, or when there was
Oh,
an
yeah.
increase last year. So we'll
Perfect.
make sure that she's prepared to speak on it if
Perfect,
town meeting asks.
yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna abstain from it, for voting.
Okay.
I just, I've been having discussions with her about the voting locations, and I'm not ready to vote yes.
So
Yeah.
do we,
Okay.
what's the trend? It seems like every year we've had some increases in that position. I like to see that trend before I vote.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm concerned with administration continue to get raises and some decent raises, and yet the front lines continue to have to take some hits. So I like to see what the trend is before I vote on this one.
How will
I
you
know
know what
that
that trend is, John?
I'm sorry?
How will you know what that trend is?
Well, what the raise has been in the last 3 or 4 years for that position.
It's been pretty similar to this, actually. I know this because I had to read last year's warrant rationales.
Yeah, I'd have to go back to the 24 and 23 to see what that is.
If it's similar, I don't know, who's getting 4% raises every year,
Actually, I just had it. Let's see.
if it's similar to what was being in town. I think there was quite a large increase, I think, at one point, where there was, and I can't remember what year, but there was considerable discussion with this committee on it.
Yeah. It's the second year that.
So
Sarah-
in 24, it was 98,277. In 25, it was,
104. 102.
yeah, and then now it's 106.
Yeah, so that's 2 4% increases.
Right, it was 4% last year. As I said, I know from looking it up.
Yeah.
And, I'm just questioning who's else getting these, and again, that's only comparison of 2
When she
years.
first started, there was a big
It was a big jump when she first started.
So, we didn't vote on, nobody made a motion on this yet, right?
No,
I don't think so.
So it's not on the table yet. We haven't made a motion on this one, so we don't have to even table it. We just not vote on it, which I'm in favor of.
I think, I'm fine with voting today, just because I think that the topic has been on our agenda a few times. We originally thought that this should be an appointed position. Remember the study that we did on that? And when the decision was made to keep it elected, it's pretty much up to her. She's the only employee in town who's elected and a professional staff. She came up with the, as Gary said, she came up with the rationale, and she addressed everybody's questions on stage, so.
So you have it, so. So in 23 it was 91, but I believe, I'm not sure the exact, when she started.
I know, but when I was first on this board, the person who had that position was making,
Lynn,
it was making
yeah.
$70,000, $70,000. So, and I'd like to know what Patrick thinks, and I'd like to know what Brian thinks on this. So we're gonna table this until.
So to
next
my
time.
point, that 93 to 98 is substantially more than 4%. And this is my point, so this is 3 years in a row where there's been some significant increases there that I don't think too many other people are getting in town. Especially people on the front lines, our school teachers, our DPW employees, you know, no one's seeing these kind of raises. Why do we accept, in my view, recommending these kind of raises?
I think it's difficult to compare to the union employees, because that's totally out of our realm. But Gary, you must have a sense of the department managers, of what their increases have been.
Normally 3%, that's what the unions have settled in the last contract. You know, but we're up for, all the contracts are up for renewal right now. So we're looking to do a bridge contract, which I'll be negotiating at the beginning of April. So none of that's been ironed out yet.
Correct.
And in this instance, she's an elected official that's requesting the increase prior to us negotiating with other contracts. But if you look at the trend's been around 3%.
So, I mean, that's why I think we need to do a deeper dive on this. If the trend is for other management positions to be getting 3%, and this one's been 4, 4, and 8, or whatever that guy, I haven't done the math yet, that's not fair to the other people in similar positions in management that are only getting 3%.
I mean, I think the options are for the committee to vote yes, no, or, I mean, I don't know if the committee has the ability to change it. I think you have to, because she's
No,
an
Oh,
elected
that's
no,
right.
I
official.
realize that. No,
Yeah.
I'm not saying we can change it. We're just recommending, that's.
Right.
That's,
Well,
I
what-
realize
right.
that.
What you're saying is to look at the trend and to use that information to support.
And these kind of comparisons, you
Yep.
know, what are other
mean, that's
management
what we're
people
supposed to be
getting?
doing,
If you don't
so.
want to compare the union, which I understand, but it's still, you know, the unions, management needs to set the example. You know, it's do what I say, not what I do. You know, and that's a terrible example to set, to say, hey, you guys can only get 3%, but yet all the people that work for us in management, we're gonna give you 4 and 8% every year.
All right, so we won't vote on this tonight. Again, I
Yeah,
want
we
to
can-
see
you can hold
with
it.
Patrick, and I want to see
I
with,
just want to ask
with
one more
Brian.
question.
Yeah.
Is she an annual contract or a 3-year?
Every
Every
warrant,
year.
every
Every year.
meeting, annual town meeting.
Every year she gets
She's
a
a
new
year, yeah.
contract?
Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on
Yeah, we'll hold
to
on number 9.
Article
Number
11.
10,
Is Article 11 ready, or?
Article 10, we're gonna hold on.
Yep,
Article 11, yes.
so it's ready to go?
Ready to
Okay.
go, yep.
Okay. Article 11, funding sewer and septic system betterments. To see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $1,137,226.76 from sewer betterment revenue to cover the fiscal year 2026 debt service, and associated fees on sewer betterment projects as administered by the Sewer Enterprise Fund for the Department of Public Works, and to see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $40,030 from septic system betterment revenue to cover the fiscal year 2026 debt service and associated fees on Title V septic system betterment loans as administered by the Board of Health, and to currently authorizes the town accountant to make the necessary adjustments to each applicable special assessment fund for the various projects and loans. Can you just,
So this is a
I know what it is, but I just. for
boilerplate
the-
article. So this funds the debt for the septic. And each year this decreases as that gets paid off.
Okay.
So we have to put it on as a town meeting warrant article for approval at town meeting.
Okay, and the $40,000, is that for where the town funds the money for the homeowner,
Programs.
and then the homeowner reimburses us?
Through the,
Yeah. Okay.
the bills.
Motion to recommend.
Motion to recommend by John,
Second.
second by Phil. Any discussion? Okay, we're ready to vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? I hear none. 600. Rationale?
This article provides an appropriation for debt services and associated costs related to sewer and septic system betterments. This article is voted on each year.
Okay. Article
So-
12, ready?
The next 5 articles, Mr. Chairman, they're ready. These are the enterprise fund articles.
Okay, wow. I'm very impressed because in past years, we were always waiting for the overhead calculation, and we would vote on these at the last meeting of the year. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Gary
Article-
doesn't sleep.
Yeah. Article 12, funding solid waste enterprise fund. To see if the town will vote to approve $2,261,099 pursuant to the provisions of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53F and a half, with an appropriation of $1,776,740 for the purpose of funding direct operating expenses of the Solid Waste Department for fiscal year 2026. And in order to fund indirect operating expenses, an additional $378,983 has already been appropriated in the general fund operating budget and allocated to the solid waste enterprise fund, with all expenses funded from solid waste enterprise revenues, all as shown in the detail below. Sanitation Division, $1,563,795. Emergency Reserve, $50,000. Crapo Hill Assessment, $161,647. Debt Service, $0. Solar net metering credits, $1,300. And so the subtotal direct expenses, $1,776,742. DPW administrative costs, $26,546. Highway Division costs, $36,773. Fleet Maintenance Division costs, $45,218. Total overhead, $270,000, $446. So subtotal of indirect expenses, $378,983. So the total is $2,155,725. And the revenue, solid waste base rate, $1,094,045. Smart bag fee, miscellaneous revenue, $981,680. And transfer station, $80,000. So the revenue of $2,155,725 matches the expenses. So there is the income, it matches exactly the expenses.
So, Mr. Chairman, just to explain, so if people are working, I'll leave.
Yeah, I wish
Watching at
Patrick was
home.
here for this because this is.
Watching
yeah,
at home,
yeah.
on the overhead last year, if you remember at town meeting, there was a question on overhead. So overhead is calculated with a multiple, pension, health insurance, the allocation of, department heads in the building that process payments for, bills and so on and so forth, invoices that are processed. So that's turned back as an indirect cost. We're allowed to do that to the enterprise funds.
Yeah.
So I just want anyone at home
Yeah.
watching, that was a question at town meeting last year.
Okay.
You have a good memory, Gary.
And that's standard for each one of the enterprise funds.
Price funds, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to.
Gary made a motion. Anybody want a second?
Second.
Nope. John's voice goes over signals.
Scout's honor.
Especially since it helps Elizabeth do the minutes. Okay, no, any discussion? Okay, we ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I hear none. 6-0-0-0. Article 13.
Well, rationale was a change.
Oh, yeah, rationale. I keep forgetting the
I'm
rationale.
going to have a sign in front of it
Yeah,
that
you
says
should, yeah,
rationale.
yeah, you should mark, yeah. flashing.
Anyway, this article self-funds the operating expenses and indirect costs for the Solid Waste Enterprise Fund.
Okay? Okay, Article 13. Article 13. Funding Water Department Enterprise Fund, to see if the town will vote to approve $6,887,904 pursuant to the provision of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53F and a half, with the appropriation of $5,625,023, I'm sorry, $5,625,023 for the purpose of funding direct operating expenses for the Water Department for fiscal year 2026, and in order to fund indirect operating expenses at an additional $1,262,881 has already been appropriated by the general fund operating budget and allocated to the Water Enterprise Fund, with all expenses funded from the water enterprise revenues as shown in the detail below. I should have brought water. Water Division, $4,454,233. Debt service, $1,485,000. Solar net metering credits, $170,305. So the total direct expenses is $5,625,023. The DPW administrative costs, $196,847. Construction division costs, $135,842. Engineering costs, $153,185. And the fleet maintenance division costs, $44,524, with a total overhead of $732,483. So total of indirect expenses are $1,262,881. So the total expenses for the water department, for the water department, $6,887,904. So that's on the expense side. On the revenue side, they expect system development charge of $90,000, other departmental revenue, $295,000, interest and demands, $10,000, investment income, $2,000, and water rates, $6,490,904 for a total of $6,887,904 in revenue. So the revenue matches the expenses. So somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Terry made a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Phil seconds. Phil seconds. Okay, discussion. Okay. So the debt service on solid waste is zero.
There is no debt service.
There's no service. So water division has has debt service of $1 million. That's so.
Well, if you remember, not last time meeting, but the prior time meeting to that, we implemented the AMR system, automatic meter reading system, which was a $2.5 million project.
Yeah.
So that's built into this now.
Okay.
But as you see, in
So-
25, the rate, it's still going down because we're making payments, obviously, towards the debt.
Okay, so it's related to that.
Yes.
Automated, so
reading system.
so they can just drive by and take a reading, right? So why do they have it's only $2,000. Why do they have investment income if they're so far in debt? No? See investment income, $2,000?
Well, under Mass General Law, any of the enterprise funds that have investment income earn their own investment income. So this is the pooled money that's on the ledger. That's their portion of investment
Okay,
income.
okay.
So it's not the interest on the debt.
Right.
It's already built into.
No,
the
I
debt.
understand, I
Yeah.
understand. But why doesn't enterprise fund solid waste have any interest? Any particular reason, or?
It could be that the balance just wasn't enough to allocate at the time if we're transferring money.
Okay,
But they, under the law, they do have the ability to keep their own
Interest, right, okay, yeah. Okay, we ready to vote?
Yes.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to vote.
okay.
To approve?
No, we already made that.
Oh, we already made the,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Remember
Wait, we're
Phil-
ready to vote.
No,
We're
Phil
ready
seconds,
to vote.
right?
That's right.
Double
that's
motion.
right.
Okay.
Double motion.
Okay, we're ready to vote.
I'm gonna drink some more. So, Celsius water.
That's all right, I keep on screwing up on the rationale, so. Ready to vote?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none, so that's 6-0-0. And the rationale,
Ooh. This article self-funds the operating expenses and indirect costs for the Water Department Enterprise Fund. The Finance Committee recognizes the need to provide clean water and the costs associated with that process.
everybody okay with that? Okay. We all set for Article 14?
14, yes.
Okay. Funding Sewer Department Enterprise Fund. To see if the town will vote to approve $6,079,053 pursuant to the provisions of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53F and a half, with an appropriation of $4,876,684 for the purpose of funding direct operating expenses of the sewer department for fiscal year 2026, and in order to fund the indirect operating expenses, an additional $1,202,369 has already been appropriated by the general fund operating budget and allocated to the sewer enterprise fund, with all expenses funded from sewer enterprise revenues as shown in the detail below. Okay, now this is expenses. Sewer division, $874,595. Water pollution control, $2,518,061. Stabilization fund, $151,150. Debt service, $1,034,376. And solar net metering credits, $298,502. So, total of direct expenses, $4,876,684. Administrative costs, DPW, $89,118. Construction division costs, $105,655. Engineering costs, $127,655. Fleet maintenance division costs, $23,924. And total overhead, $856,017. Subtotal indirect expenses, $1,202,369, for a total of expenses of $6,079,053. On the revenue side, system development charge, $55,000. Other departmental revenue, $700,000. Infiltration inflow, $35,000. Interest and demands, $50,000. Interest income, $600,000. And sewer rates, $5,283,453, for a total $6,079,053. So the expenses equal the revenue. So we want to make a motion?
Motion to recommend?
Motion to recommend
I'll second.
by Janine, second by Carrie.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Gary, the other department revenue, 700,000, what is that?
That's, just think what the detail is on that. I have to get the exact, it's a few accounts. I can send out the accounts to you. I just don't have them off the top of my head, what they are.
It's not gonna change my vote, I'm just curious what that
Yeah, I can
breakdown
get them.
is. Other, what does that include?
Yeah,
That's
I
a
can
big number,
Yeah, it is, yeah,
700,000, what do
yeah.
you know?
But I had it in, I have to look for it. I'd have to go to another
Okay.
file, but I'll get it before the end.
I have
Yeah.
one other question too.
Yes.
How come this says in draft still, when you scroll up? Did it still say draft?
Or in draft until it becomes final. So the only
Okay.
thing that will really change
Okay.
maybe are the article, well, it will be the article numbers.
Okay, all right,
If we take away articles.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that other
Yeah, I'll-
departmental revenue, because, you know, is there an opportunity for more revenue there? Okay. We ready to vote?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none. Article passes at 600. Rationale?
This article self-funds the operating expenses and indirect costs for the Sewer Department Enterprise Fund.
Everybody okay with that? Okay. Article 15, funding Department Cable TV, DCTV Enterprise Fund, to see if the town will vote to approve $618,528 pursuant to special legislation approved by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in 2414 and the provisions of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53F and a half, and with an appropriation of $497,963 for the purpose of funding direct operating expenses for the Dartmouth Cable Television for the fiscal year 2026, and in order to fund indirect operating expenses, an additional $120,565 has already been appropriated into the general fund, operating fund budget and allocated to the Dartmouth Cable Television Enterprise Fund, with all and expenses funded from cable access, franchise fees, and other cable television revenues as shown in detail. Expenses, personnel services, $362,111. Expenses, $135,852. So total direct expenses, $497,963. Total overhead, $120,565. So total expenses, $618,528. Estimated revenue, cable access, franchise fees, $612,528. Sale of tape, sponsorships and services, $5,000. Other income, solar credits and investment, $1,000. So total revenue, $618,528. So the expenses equal the revenue.
Mr. Chairman, just a point of reference, I think that, to John's point on the prior article, I think just as this one has got other income, solar credits, I think that we should maybe put in parentheses for other revenue, what those are on the warrant.
Good idea.
So I'll put that in there, just so town meeting can see it.
All right, so on the prior, you're talking about the
Yes,
prior, okay.
right.
Okay. Somebody want to make a motion on this?
I'll make a motion.
All right, Carrie, make a motion.
We're all so quiet tonight.
All right,
Second?
second, Terry? Okay,
Nobody wants to
Janine?
talk.
Okay. Okay, discussion. I have a question. I mean, with people going from cable to streaming, I mean, how's that affecting? Because they don't get revenue, right? If they,
Yeah, so, right now, the agreement is, they've got, deal with, the provider, but it potentially could be an issue down the road.
Okay.
And we've talked to, Peter Chase, the department head, that could be a lost, stream of revenue, because we're relying on the, provider to pay the town back.
Yeah.
There are people, as you know, they say pull the plug, where they're going streaming, they're going to, Roku and things like that, so it doesn't really need the cable access. But we know that could be an issue down the road.
okay. So how long is it?
The
Go
way the
ahead.
contract was written was before they knew the effective internet, so they just focused
Yeah, I
on
think there's a 10
cable.
year.
Yeah.
So how long is, because they just signed a contract with
Yeah,
us, right?
last year, or the year before, I think it's 10 years.
So it's for 10 years?
Yeah, I believe it's
Okay, okay,
a long contract.
okay. Any more discussion on this, or?
They do a good job, and I think you make a good point that at some point, we're probably gonna have to look at it, because we would not want to be without DCTV.
No,
Oh,
it's very good
Very
service.
fair.
They do a great job.
Yes, I mean, it's something that's on the radar as a potential reduction in revenue to the town for that, to that enterprise fund.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have to do something on the town clerk, I'm wondering if you can put it up.
Okay.
Okay, so are we ready to vote on this?
Yes?
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I hear none. 6-0-0. And the rationale is?
A suspense. This article self-funds the operating expenses and indirect costs for the DCTV Enterprise Fund.
Which is.
Very nice, thank you, Janine.
Yeah,
Thank you, Carrie.
You're welcome.
so 16, yeah.
Okay, we ready for Article 16? Okay. Funding Waterways Management Enterprise Fund. To see if the town will vote to approve $410,142 pursuant to the provision of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53F and a half, with an appropriation of $353,766 for the purpose of funding direct operating expenses of the Waterways Management Department for fiscal year 2026, and in order to fund indirect operating expenses, additional $56,376 has already been appropriated by the general fund operating budget and allocated to the Waterways Management Enterprise Fund, with expenses funded with $226,352 from Waterways receipts, a transfer of $2,000 from the general fund to the Waterways Management Enterprise Fund as a subsidy for parking fines issued by the waterway staff at waterways landings, and which the general fund is the chief beneficiary, and a transfer of $21,879 from the Water Improvement Fund for the purpose of funding $21,879 for the salary of the harbor master, including an appropriation for personnel services below. In addition, with the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40, Section 5G, all is shown in detail below. Personnel services, $250,966. Expenses, $102,800. Debt service, $0. Subtotal direct expenses, $353,766. Town overhead, $56,376. So total expenses, $410,142. Estimated waterways revenue, waterways usage fees, $226,352. Mooring fees, $112,003. Licenses and permits, boat launch, $46,158. Parking ticket, revenue transfer, $2,000. Waterways Improvement Fund transfer, $21,879. Other income, solar credits, $1,750. So total revenue is $410,142. So the revenue equals the expenses. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Terry made a motion,
Second.
second by Janine. Discussion.
So there's some big increases in expenses, right? 198 to 250.
Yeah, I think it has to do with getting somebody in doing the administration, because what's happening is the harbor masters end up doing billing and all this other stuff, and
Yep.
and with the marina and all that. So I think that's what that's for. Am I right, Gary? Yes. Okay.
So therefore, the increase in fees is going to cover that, looks like, right?
Yeah.
Just as a note of interest for anyone who might be, the mooring fees can now be paid online. You can set up your own account, get a little email, you can go in, click, click, click.
Nice.
I know. Used to be all paper.
They're ramping up their online presence. They've, have a new software system that's being implemented, so it's nice.
Excuse me, parking ticket revenues?
Yeah, he issues parking tickets out of the marina.
Park your boat on the sidewalk.
Who does?
That's true.
Harbor master, and the assistant harbor masters are allowed to issue parking tickets and violations.
Anything else on this?
And they retain the revenue from those tickets.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, their revenue's gone up quite a bit, you know? If you look at it from last year.
Don't forget, they've also increased the capacity down there too. They put more racks and things like that, so.
Well, they're gonna have the marina now
Yeah.
too, so.
You have a motion?
Okay, John made a motion.
Oh, I was asking, do you?
No,
have a
no, no,
motion?
no,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Okay.
Motion to recommend.
Motion to recommend by John.
Second. Want on with it? Phil,
Oh, we did that already.
Okay, Phil.
We have to do that before we
No, I'm
discuss.
gonna give it to Phil.
Ladies first.
All right, second by Phil.
I didn't know there was a gold star awarded at the end of the night.
Yeah, well, you know, I try to get it equal, you know?
I think we're confusing ourselves, because normally we can't discuss it until we do the vote to,
Yeah, I know that, in general, that is, but
that's why I thought we already had done it.
yeah,
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 that's right. I
Thank you, Terry.
Yeah.
I'm not insane.
all right. But this is where I say.
It's confusing.
Any discussion? No discussion? Okay,
We discussed.
okay.
Okay.
Ready to vote?
Yes.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? I hear none, 600.
Terry wants to go back to Article 9.
Town clerk.
You sent it to me, Jeff?
Oh, look, we gotta do, can we do the rationale first?
Text?
Yeah, let's do the rationale for this one.
Can we do the rationale first?
Clean this one
Oh,
up.
okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
This article self-funds operating expenses and indirect costs for the Waterways Management Enterprise Fund.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right, good. Let's go, you wanna go back to Article 9, you said?
Oh, okay, this is it ready.
Is that
You have it?
salaries and such?
I'm gonna email it right now. I went back to look at the Schedule As. I don't have 2018, but I had the other ones, and I made a list of the increases in salary with the percentages.
Okay.
An email just came in. Oh, there you go, okay.
Excellent.
I love that white on black
Can you
look.
see it?
Yeah.
Makes me
So
go,
you can see the 2023 was when we had new employee come in. And the argument, I think that year or the following year, was made that other department heads.
oh, thank you, Gary.
Remember that? That
Yeah,
were
I
in that
remember.
range, and hers was much lower, so she requested the increase. So for the past 2 years, we're looking at 4%. Before that, it was 7. 16 was a big jump. I remember there was a lot of discussion.
Oh, yes. On 7%, there was some discussion.
Yep.
And she's gone out and got her certification. And so she's now certified.
But she gets a separate stipend for that,
Yeah.
right?
Does that give you enough information, Joe?
Yeah, it gives me a lot of information. It's more shocking than what I thought. The last 4 years is just, totally out of line with what, other managers are receiving.
I think every manager is different. I don't think they should always be judged on what some other manager is making. I mean, I say this because I've worked a lot with our town clerk, and I know how hard she works, so I have a difficult time saying that the town clerk is not worthy of a raise. You know, we're gonna argue over 3% or 4%? I mean, that's kind of crazy.
I don't think,
At least I haven't said that. I'm not saying
Well, the,
individual, now, we're talking about a position, not an individual. I'm not saying the individual is not the worthy of a position. I don't doubt she's doing a fine job, but there are a lot of people in town that are doing just as good of a job, maybe some even better, that are only receiving 3% or less. That's my only argument is, we need to be fair with everybody. There are a lot of hard-working people in this town. And I don't know how many people are getting 16, 7%, and 4% raises.
I think, I think first I'll say that back when it was when Lynn was here, people on the finance committee felt like her salary should be increased in general. And I think the difficulty we had in doing it is that it's an elected position. So we thought if it became an appointed position and it was, or, you know, hired through the town, then that would be a reason because we'd go along with the contract. So it's very tricky when you're not the town administrator, but you've got a different contract altogether. That's why I asked, an annual contract, it's tricky, really, to justify it. But the big adjustment was made because really, we thought that salary was too low. I don't know if you remember that, but
Right.
the 79,350 at the time, compared to the other department heads, was pretty low.
Yeah, I agree. If I might.
Go ahead.
You know, I agree with what you were saying about, you know, that she should be equal with the 3% as, you know, which is more equal with the town. And that a lot of our employees in town are working just as hard as she is. However, I mean, it is literally a drop in the bucket. It is not much money that we're
That's why I
talking
don't
about there
understand
when
why
we
we're
talk about
quibbling
our
over it.
budgets. And I would just recommend moving forward that maybe she could do a 3% like the rest of the town instead of 4 moving forward. But, I mean, for this year, I mean, we're not really talking a whole heck of a lot of a change here, so, you know, whether it was 3 or 4%. But I agree with what you're
For
saying.
me, it's not the money, it's not the, I understand, it's minuscule.
Yeah,
It's the message we send.
that's fair.
You're sending the wrong message. That's very damaging
Yeah.
to other people in town who work very hard, who aren't seeing these kind of increases.
I think
That's
it's
all.
also
I-
worthwhile saying that she does not get step increases, and people in other positions get the annual 3 or 4, and they may get step increases depending on what contract they're in, and you wouldn't see that there, so. I know what you're saying, and that's the problem that I have with an elected
And so
person.
now you're
I
talking
agree.
negotiating and contracts and unions, and you see step increases.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of times, that's the only thing they receive is a
Yep.
step increase.
Yep.
So, you know, this is, you know, we're not comparing apples and apples, I'm just making the point, regardless of what the increase is, a step increase compared to other towns, that's a lot of money. That's good-sized increases every year for the last 4 years. And again, I understand it's minuscule, it's the message we send to everybody else is what bothers me.
I think another thing that I would recommend, and you can take this under consideration, but if her term is 3 years, which it is, right? She's elected.
No,
her
Oh,
election.
Right, yeah, but she goes to town meeting every year.
If she's got a term of 3 years, I think a 3-year contract could then spell this out, and we wouldn't have this big
I like that.
change every single year. But that, I know that's gotta go through another whole system, right? Select board or whatever.
Yeah, she doesn't have a contract, 'cause she's elected.
So, again, we tabled this, I wanna keep tabling, because I really wanna see what Patrick has to say, because Patrick's new, and I'm sure Brian always has something to say, so.
He's out for 2 weeks.
Oh, he's out for 2 weeks? Okay. Well,
We'll have time to circle
yeah,
back
we'll,
to it.
we'll
We
go
will.
back to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got time.
Yeah, okay. But can you send that to the group? Okay.
I'm gonna ask Gary to do it, because he has a little,
Yeah, can you send that to the
I emailed
group?
it.
Can you email that, so next time we
Oh,
have
okay,
the
you said
discussion?
There's an email too, Terry.
I did both, yep.
Okay, yeah.
yep.
Thank you, Terry, for doing that.
Yeah, that was good. That was-
Yeah.
You did that while we were talking? I'm impressed.
I'm a
So
multitasker.
You mean you weren't listening to all these numbers? Oh,
ADHD works for me.
Okay,
She's a multitasker.
okay. Okay, we ready for Article 17?
Yes.
Well, we've got to do article, let's see.
Oh, we just
Did
did
we
on
do the
Waterway.
rationale?
Yeah, we did rationale.
Did.
Yeah, yeah.
16 we did.
Yes,
Up to
article
17.
17.
Article 17, okay. Appropriation for the use of stabilization funds for the opioid legal settlement receipts. To see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $435,000 from the opioid legal settlement stabilization fund for the fiscal 2026 to use in accordance with the strategy set forth in the Massachusetts State Subdivision Agreement, being used solely to supplement and strengthen resources for prevention, harm reduction, treatment, and recovery.
I thought this money was
So-
gone. Didn't the court say that they didn't have to pay it? Oh, good.
Okay, so someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Terry made a motion to approve.
Second.
Second, Janine. Okay, discussion. All right.
It's pretty standard every year that we do this.
Yeah, but I would think if I was a town meeting member, I'd say, well, okay, where's this money going to? It says.
Yeah, so that we have a, I want to say it's an opioid task force, in essence, and this is from the settlements from the pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
And each community, well, in the country received this.
Yeah.
And so this is drawing down a balance. We have tasks and looking for, items that we need to address opioid addiction in the community. So we have also a substance abuse coordinator that we're looking to hire with some of these funds. So there is, someone will speak on if there is questions on what the money would be used for. There's a list. Some of it's school-related.
Okay.
Some of it's town-related.
Yep, the meetings are taped and there's representation from the community, so if
Yeah,
you
the
want to
police.
see one of the
Okay.
conversations, you can.
Okay. I'm satisfied. We're ready to vote? Okay.
I don't think you have a motion.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah?
Yeah, because we had the motion, we had the second, and then we had the discussion.
Okay.
We did it in order.
Okay? So now if we get the rationale, man, we're in good shape here. All right? Ready to vote?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I see none. 600 and rationale.
This article appropriates $435,000 from the opioid legal settlements stabilization fund for fiscal year 2026 to use in accordance with the strategies set forth in the Massachusetts State Subdivision Agreement. Dartmouth Advocates for Addiction Recovery and Treatment will oversee the spending.
Good, I'm glad you asked, added that last sentence.
Okay. Okay,
That's it
everybody
for the
good?
enterprise funds.
Yep, okay.
Article 18.
Article 18, this is what I was talking about before. Okay, it's the loans for septic system repair and placement.
Yeah,
Okay.
just for clarification, the other article pays down the debt that's already out there.
Out there.
This requests additional money for projects that the Board of Health sees.
Sees
a
is
need for.
necessary, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Article 18, loans for septic system repair, replacement, or upgrade. To see if the town will,
Yeah, that's gonna be corrected.
okay,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
It's a little.
I was ready to take off my glasses there.
that's a correction. There's a couple of them.
To see if the town will vote to appropriate $400,000 for the purpose of financing the following water pollution abatement facility projects. Repair, replacement, and upgrade of septic systems pursuant to the agreements between the Board of Health and residential property owners, including without limitation all costs thereof as defined in Section 1 of the Chapter 29C of the Massachusetts General Laws, that to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the Select Board, is authorized to borrow $400,000 and issue bonds and notes, therefore, under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 11, Section 127B and a half, and Chapter 29C, and any other enabling authority, that the project and finance costs will be repaid by the property owners that are specifically benefited hereby in accordance with those agreements, but that such bonds or notes shall be a general obligation of the town, that the treasurer, with the approval of the Select Board, is authorized to borrow all or portion of such amount from the Massachusetts Water Pollution Abatement Trust that has been established pursuant to Chapter 29C, and in connection therewith to enter into a loan agreement and/or security agreement with the trust and otherwise contract with the trust and the Department of Environmental Protection with respect to such law and for any federal or state aid that is available for the projects or for the financing thereof, and that the Select Board or the Board of Health is authorized to enter into a project regulatory agreement with the Department of Environmental Protection and to expend all funds that are available for the projects and to take any other action that is necessary or covenant to carry out the projects. Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to,
Terry made a motion,
I'll second.
second Carrie. Discussion.
this is a good program. This is
Yeah.
part of our.
So,
Failed septic system.
yeah. It's $400,000. You're going to issue bonds?
Yes,
You're going to issue bonds for that?
Through the Clean
And-
Water Trust.
And then, yeah, through the what?
Clean Water Trust.
Clean
Used to be
Water.
called MWPAT, the Mass Water Pollution Abatement Trust, but they
Okay.
changed names.
And,
And then that's paid off as the person applies and gets approved for the Board of Health, gets
So-
paid off on their bill through,
yeah, no, I got
Program.
you. I understand the concept. What I don't understand is why the Massachusetts Water Pollution Abatement Trust is involved. I mean, what-
they're the funding source from the state. So they allow 2% loans to the cities and towns in Massachusetts, and they've had this program for probably 20, 30 years now.
Okay.
They're called the Clean Water Trust, so we should probably adjust this in the warrant to no longer the mass water pollution. They don't want to be known as pollution,
Bad
they want
word.
to be clean water.
yeah, okay.
But so we go to the state for borrowing.
But why are you issuing bonds if you go to the state?
Well, it's a borrowing program, so it's through the state, so we have to, it's almost like a conventional borrowing, but the state holds the pool of cash.
Okay, so we borrow the money
Yep,
and we pay it and it goes into the Massachusetts Trust Fund and it's specifically for Dartmouth, right?
yes.
So,
So there's pools of money that they loan out to different communities,
okay,
and we have to apply for that pool.
okay,
And then we draw down on that pool as we get applicants. Well, we get the full 400,000, and as we get the applicants in, we draw down on that balance.
So do people get a betterment fee? Is there?
Yes,
any-
it's,
okay,
in a
like-
sense, it's a
just like
lien.
they used to
It's a lien,
before,
yeah,
okay.
on the property.
okay.
It's just a different funding source.
That's how the town secures the loan, is through the betterment lien. These programs have been at least
Yeah.
30, it's a 30-year, it's
Oh,
been
yeah,
going
yeah,
on for
yeah,
30
yeah,
years.
yeah. Yeah, I
It
think
really
the
helps
The
homeowners.
trust fund is what threw me
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah,
Um,
What's great about it is the number of people that can connect. It's really going to help with the nitrogen around Buttonwood in particular, right?
Yeah, and along with, if you remember, the Buzzards Bay Coalition, we did a program with them. So in conjunction with them and projects like this, the goal is to reduce nitrogen in the rivers.
So it's similar to, and I say this from a previous home that I lived in, when the sewer comes by your house and you tie in, or have to tie in,
Yeah,
honestly.
it's like, it's failed septic, that's what
Right, so they
we call it. failed
put it
septic.
onto your house and you
Yeah.
pay it as you go.
But if a septic system fails, they can use this?
Yes.
In other words,
It's a whole application process for the Board of
Okay,
Health. They have to qualify for it.
okay.
It's based on income.
Because
Yes.
there's parts of the town that are never gonna get sewer.
No.
Yeah, my
So-
God.
There are parts of town, like in the north part, if you drew a line at Route 6 north, it's just not, and the plant at the current, would not have the capacity to take on all that volume.
Yeah. Now, the town of Westport doesn't have any water
No
pollution.
sewer at all.
No
No sewer
sewer.
or water.
Yeah.
But they're currently bringing a line down Route 6 from Fall River to extend past the Oriental Pearl restaurant.
Yep.
And so they, actually, I see them digging now. So they're coming to the Dartmouth line. So they want to supply water to those businesses from the Oriental Pearl to the Dartmouth line, but still no septic. It's still no sewer, there's all septic. It's all septic.
So that's, so are they connected to the city, that would connect the
Connected-
city of Fall,
they do
city of
already.
Fall River?
They do already, yeah. They're just extending the line down Route
Okay,
6.
okay, okay. All right.
So we're gonna be buying water from Fall River, or we're gonna be selling water to?
Well, it's
You said it's gonna
interesting,
connect
because
it
I
down.
watched the city council meeting last night, and there was discussion on, obviously when Fall River was built, it was an industrial-sized city. So all those industrial users that had 24-inch mains, in essence, are gone. So now they need the customer base, and they don't have the customer base. If you look at the Watuppers right now, they are full, And in years past, when they had the industrial base, those lakes were empty almost. So they're looking for that customer base because they have to support that water system. So they're looking at branching out to Westport. You know, who knows, maybe years down the line, you know, we currently buy water from New Bedford, that could be another
Well, you
source.
said Westport's goal is to connect to Dartmouth? Because
No,
they're coming down
no.
Route 6, did I
No, no,
miss
they're
No,
gonna
no.
stop at the, like a Lincoln Park area, they'll stop
Yeah.
the line. It won't connect into Dartmouth.
Yeah, but they
Isn't there
may.
a pump
for some.
up there that is shut down now on the Fall River line?
It gives us an
I'm
option.
not sure if there is.
What's
That
that?
would be worth exploring. for
I'm sorry,
sure.
what was the question?
I thought there was a pump on the Fall River line that's been shut down. He's not sure. But it would be worth exploring it just for long-term capital because of the cost of the New Bedford water is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right, if
For-
there's a
for-
potential other source, geez.
Yeah, Fall River is blessed with water. I mean, that's, you know, talk about,
Well, back in
if
the
you
day,
wanted to recreate a reservoir like that,
Back
it'd
in the
be,
1800s, they had the insight to purchase land all across the south coast.
Yeah.
And it was, other communities had the opportunity to buy land. They bought water rights. So they bought almost all the water rights. So they had the ingenuity way back when to do that, in the 1800s, if you think about that.
Copacut Reservoir in Dartmouth is owned by Fall River.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they,
After they took it from the Native Americans usually, right?
yeah,
Oops. That's fair point.
yeah. I remember when I was a kid in Fall River, the water was outstanding.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what they're doing now, but,
it was rated one of the best water supplies in the country.
yeah, no, when I was a kid, it was good. I don't think it's very good now, but I don't know. You know, I remember attending a meeting at the industrial park meeting in Fall River, and Blount makes soups. And somebody asked him, "Are you using Fall River water?" He said, "No, we have a system. You know, we fix the water before we put it out." So,
Those are
all right.
excellent soups, so I hope so.
Yeah, no, they are good soups.
So did we vote on this? We voted yet? No.
No, we vote. No, we're in discussion.
Make a motion.
We're in discussion.
We need a chart.
We do need to show, we need to like, yeah,
So,
help us
all
keep
right.
track.
So, are we ready to vote?
Write it on the wall. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I hear none. 600. Rationale?
This article appropriates $400,000 to finance water pollution abatement facility projects as detailed in warrant Article 18.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Article 19.
So 19, we're going to hold, Mr. Chairman, this is a bylaw, just give you a brief on it. It's, you know, with the homelessness in the area, we're trying to monitor individuals that are on town property. We've asked town council to write up a law, a bylaw to address that. Non-criminal, there will be no fines attached to this. So we're, you know, we're through that. We have a meeting right after the opioid meeting. We meet and we talk about PIC, you've heard of the PIC count and things like that. So it's to address individuals that are on town property.
What do you expect the outcome to be?
Well, we expect that they would move off town property. We're hoping with the,
It's not sponsored by the tree committee.
no, that's a change. We're making that change as well.
I was going to say, what
Yeah,
is
no,
a tree?
no.
I know.
What is tree
We've changed-
committee?
We've changed some things on this. That's.
All right. Well, we're not going
So
to
we're
vote.
not voting on it. Town
Okay,
council's still
okay,
reviewing
okay.
it.
Who is it sponsored by?
Yeah.
Board of Selectmen.
Oh, okay.
Who's that?
Board of Selectmen?
Yeah.
Or-
Board of Selectmen, okay.
Does the Board of Selectmen, may I ask, do they have a plan then? If we're
'Cause-
going to be kicking people off of the
Well,
property?
the committee that meets has a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And the committee that meets also has helped these individuals to try to find housing
Mm-hmm.
and try to place them in areas where, you know, they're not in the woods.
Sure,
And even if they're, I mean, in my, you know, even if they're not on town property, even if they're on private property, they still are in the woods, and we're trying to help them through the Council on Aging,
Absolutely.
through,
Yeah,
Matt
they have a
Tesoro
great group.
helps them.
Yeah.
So it's a whole program that would, you know, that we meet every other week.
I think they're going to have to detail that program before they just, make a bylaw.
I
Yeah, it's
concur.
gonna be, Yeah, town council's looking at it, and the hopes is to have the bylaw in place, but we're waiting on him to,
Will they present
together.
anything on this? Because I'd like to know what the purpose of this bylaw will be. Like, what's the goal of the bylaw, other than just getting people off the property, but like what?
well, you know,
That's
there's a
not the
liability
problem.
of having people in the woods that
But the
are on
problem
town
really,
property. And, you know, as I mentioned, we, you know, the group regularly goes out there, Council on Aging regularly goes out there
Yeah.
to monitor those people, to make sure that they're okay.
Yeah.
But there is a liability having, you know, people on town property.
sure, right,
So
totally
we're trying to,
understand.
it's not non-criminal. You see of other communities that, like Fall River,
Yeah.
have imposed fines on people. That's
Yeah,
not
I
what we're trying to
mean-
do. We're trying to move them to a safer place. That's what the goal is.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that should be the goal.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can't do anything on that
No,
one.
we're
Article
not.
20, we
Article
can't?
20, yes.
You can't?
Yes. So,
Oh.
we are, I'm pleased to announce that we have hired a HR director, personnel director, yeah. And,
Contract signed?
it will be, yes, yeah. So, I met with her today, and, she met with the select board on Monday, if you watched the meeting. So, this bylaw is to change the position title, not the job description, the job description remains the same, to, Human Resources, Director.
Okay. Article 20, personnel bylaw amendment. Position title change. To see if the town will vote to amend pursuant to the provisions of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40, Section 21, Chapter 41, Section 108 and 108C, the Dartmouth Personnel Bylaw, Section 9, by amending Schedule A, Administrative and Supervisory Group to change the title of the following position. Current title, Personnel Administrator. New title, Human Resource Director.
Make a motion to approve?
Jerry made a motion to approve, second.
Second.
Second by Phil. Discussion.
So, in previous meetings, we've talked about this HR position, that possibly sharing an HR position with the with the school
Yes.
department. Has there been any more, just, I didn't
Yes.
see that.
Yes. So I've had discussions with Mr. Kiley at the schools.
Yeah.
And I believe at the last school committee meeting, I didn't get to watch it, but from what I heard was they've tabled the HR director position at the schools.
I'll have more on that when we do liaison reports.
Yeah.
But what
So,
I'm curious is, will they be able, is this HR position, will they be able to assist the school department?
Yes.
Okay.
They
The,
do some things, but some things they can't, so they
Okay.
have to
Yes.
figure out what those.
the
Okay.
person that we did hire is from a former school district, ORR.
Oh,
So,
that's great.
what I think the model should look like is, you know, a human resource director for the town,
Uh-huh.
and maybe, you know, we promote the clerks that are there to assistants, give them more responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
But that model still has to be looked at. But I think sharing the responsibilities for both the town and the schools shows, you know, some kind of economy of scale.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's important. So we're lucky that, you know, she's accepted the position, and
Okay,
Good.
she was from a school district, so,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? We ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none. 600.
Rationale.
Okay.
This article amends the title of the following position according to the provisions of Massachusetts general laws. Current title, Personnel Administrator. New title, Human Resources Director.
Do we want to make a point of saying the person is expected to work with the school district as well as the town? Or is that premature?
I wouldn't put that in the rationale.
Rationale.
I
Well,
think
if you
that
don't have a contract signed yet. and
Yeah, this
all
is-
that Seems a little,
this is just changing it's
correct. It's just
designed
the
to
ti-
change
it's just
the
the
title.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
no matter who has it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, Mr. Chairman, the next one, Article 21, is senior exemptions. I'll just give you a brief on this. We're not going to do it tonight, but what this does is, this allows for a higher exemption amount So we're tweaking that. It hasn't been done in a while. It has to go to town meeting, so we're finishing that up now. So the Board of Assessors has recommended both, well, this article and then the next two are related to veterans. The HEROES Act, you've heard of the HEROES Act?
Yep.
That was just voted. So they're making recommendations along with the Select Board to change that. So 21, 22, and 23, we still need more information on. We'll have that wrapped up at the next meeting.
Exemptions for what?
HEROES Act, veterans. And then the first one is elderly, well,
For real
senior,
estate tax.
senior, real estate
Taxes,
tax.
it's a tax
Oh,
Yeah, real
exemption.
estate tax.
All right, gotcha.
So Article 24 can be voted on. That's the lease agreement for the Southworth Library, old library.
The
They have-
cultural center, right?
Right, they have currently a one-year lease that the Board of Selectmen approved, but
Okay.
anything beyond that needs to go to town meeting. So they've asked for a longer lease for Dartmouth Cultural
Okay.
Center.
Article 24, leasing of 404 Elm Street property. To see if the town will vote to authorize pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40, Section 3, the Select Board to negotiate terms and conditions of and enter into a lease or other contractual agreement for not more than 30 years in duration for the use of the land and town-owned property that is known as the Old Southwood Library, 404 Elm Street, with the frontage on Elm Street and described on document Assessors Map 117 as Lot 840, 184_1, consisting of one building and an on-site parking for the purpose of art, culture, and/or civic engagement. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Terry made a motion to approve.
Second.
Janine, second. Discussion.
This is an interesting thing, because I remember when this first came up, I was not in favor of keeping the property. I really thought we should sell it. And this group is doing fundraising and doing a lot of work internally and doing also a great job of PR to have
Yeah,
projects in there. It's nice to see that.
it's a beautiful building.
Yeah, they maintain the building well. I mean, I've been there for a few meetings, and the programs that they have, they, like you had mentioned, they're more self-supportive. They run paint, a lot of art classes, and they're,
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody want, we ready to vote?
Yep.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I hear none. 600. Okay, before we go on to the next one, anything new on the police station, the old police station, or nothing on in here?
nothing on the warrant for the old police station.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Rationale.
Rationale, okay, yeah, okay.
This article authorizes the Select Board to negotiate a lease or other contractual agreement of not more than 30 years for the use of the town-owned property known as the Old Southworth Library for the purposes of arts, culture, and/or civic engagement.
Okay, sounds good.
Article 25 we'll be skipping
Okay.
over, right? We need one. Article 26 can be voted on. This is a petition by the Select Board to allow municipal buildings where prohibited areas in the past for, on firearms, to allow firearms in municipal buildings.
And why would we be doing that?
Yeah, I was curious about the background.
Well, other communities have done it. I think the town of Rochester did it.
Yeah,
You're
Rochester.
seeing other communities that have done it. It's more of a convenience for those that are carrying firearms, where they have to go home or secure the firearm, and then come back to town hall or municipal building. So
I
it's,
think that's a lot to ask, actually. I'll write the minority on this for sure.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, sorry, Terry, I didn't hear you.
I said I'll write the minority report on this. I just think.
All right, let me read it, and then we'll discuss it, okay?
Mhm.
Okay, Article 26, license to carry exclusion
Oh, you need a
of
motion to-
municipal, what's that?
Motion to approve? Is that what you're looking for?
No, I gotta read it.
No, he's just reading it.
Article 26, license to carry exclusion of municipal administrative buildings on town property, to see if the town will vote to exclude its municipal administrative buildings from being prohibited areas under MGL Chapter, well, Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 269, Section 10, thereby allowing the possession of a firearm loaded or unloaded as defined by Section 121 of Chapter 140 in said buildings, or take any action relative thereto. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make-
Motion to recommend?
I'll
Motion
second.
recommend- Second by Gary. Discussion.
What does this possibly have to do with us?
Well,
I
under
can-
Massachusetts general law, I believe you
Whether or
cannot,
not
you cannot,
somebody
you
can
cannot,
Carry a gun into town hall?
yeah.
The finance committee is required, because we've talked about this.
Yes.
There
Yeah,
are a
it's
number
not
of things
financial,
on here that
obviously.
we sometimes feel like, why are we commenting?
Non-financial, but the
Finance
town
committee
has,
is
yes.
required to comment and make a recommendation on
yeah.
every single one, no matter what. So that's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah,
Okay.
But I don't understand, the select board sponsoring this? Have there been, like,
Well,
problems?
well, you know, this still has to be presented to the select board, so if you want to hold off until that happens and see what the feel of the select board is, you can also do that.
Who's present, so the select board's not sponsoring it, so
Oh, it
who's
says-
presenting it to
Well,
the select board?
Right now, it's there as a select board, but the select board still has to hear it, so it was, a member of the
Hear
select.
from who?
It was a member of the select
Oh,
board who
member.
asked to put it
Oh,
on
okay.
the,
Okay.
warrant.
Yep.
So,
I think some other towns are doing it.
town of Rochester has.
Yeah, John and Rochester has, yeah, I know that. So,
I'm
based on
curious.
what
You
you
can
said,
make-
but based on what you said, I think we ought to wait until we hear
Wait.
more from the select board.
Yeah.
Everybody agree?
Yeah, you can
Okay, so we're
hold
gonna
it.
table this.
Yeah.
So somebody want to make a
Well, you would
motion?
you just table it until, like we've done the rest of these.
Do we, no, because, no, we voted,
No,
Like,
we-
all these that we've you haven't voted to table. We've only passed over them.
Right, but
Pass
we
over
opened, we
before we
opened up the
read-
discussion on this.
Oh, okay.
yeah, we,
Good job,
yeah.
Janine.
So somebody want to make a motion to table this?
I'll make a motion to table it.
All right, so Gary made a motion to table Article 26. Phil, second. All in favor of tabling Article 26, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none, 600.
So the final article, Mr. Chairman, was, if you remember, I believe it was last time, this is a cleanup article for Farm and Coast, so it can be voted on tonight. It just went to the AG's office and they needed more information, so that's pretty much
Really?
where it is.
All right, we
So this
won't vote
article
on
cleans
it.
that.
Yeah, we won't vote on it then.
If you want to, if you want to hold off until
Yeah, yeah, let's hold off until it's,
you get more information, I can provide more information to the
Yeah.
committee.
I'm sorry, what more information do we need?
Uh,
It's a
well, other
liquor
than the-
license.
Other than that the AG's office is
Okay,
make recommendations, so this is where it's
so
at.
it just has, the wording was not quite right for them at
Correct.
last town meeting that we voted on?
Correct.
So they tweaked it?
Yes, and this is what we have.
Probably not going to change my vote, but it's up to everybody else.
You can wait till you have other members, I mean,
well, if there's
it's a
any,
petition article, so.
if there's anything that could change on there, I think we should just table it. It's not like we don't have enough time. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not sure what will change between now and.
but if the
another-
AG office is looking at it, that's my point.
Well, no, they had looked at it, so the recommendation here is the edited version.
All right, so what,
They're looking at nothing because the town hasn't submitted a second article.
Right, but they've looked at the original one
Right,
last year.
and they
so
said
their
there's an issue with
recommendation-
that.
Right, this is the cleanup.
This is the corrected
Yeah.
version.
Right.
They're not looking at anything
Until
until
we
we approve
resubmit.
this. and
Yes,
the-
right.
And the
So
attorney
you
can
could-
use it
yeah,
again.
Yeah.
all right, okay.
So we can vote on it tonight.
Okay,
you
okay,
could.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, I get it. I thought they were.
No, they don't
looking at-
review it prior, they review it
Okay,
after.
okay. All right, we comfortable with that? Okay, so we want to make a recommendation? Well, let me read it first. Article 27, Citizens Petition, all alcoholic beverage license, to see if the town will vote as follows. To see if the town will vote to authorize the select board, if it deems to be appropriate and necessary, to file with the general court, the Commonwealth of Commonwealth. Shouldn't I say Commonwealth of Massachusetts? Gary?
Let me see. That the general court,
General Court of the Commonwealth, shouldn't it say Massachusetts?
We can't change it.
I
This
wouldn't,
is-
that's a petitions order, I wouldn't
Right.
change it. This
Okay,
is-
all
this is
right, all right,
very-
okay.
Yeah, we can't
Okay,
change the
all right,
language.
okay. A home rule petition to effectuate the adoption of legislation precisely as set forth below, provided however that the general court may make clerical or editorial changes of the form only to the bill unless the select board approves substantial amendments to the bill before enactment by the general court. The select board has thereby authorized to approve substantial improvements provided that they are within the scope of the general public objectives of the petition. Section 1, notwithstanding the provisions of any general or special law of the contrary, including those in any limitation on the number of licenses to be issued under the provision of Section 17 of Chapter 138 of the general laws, but subject, however, to all provisions of said chapter, the select board acting as a licensing board for the town of Dartmouth is hereby authorized to issue an additional all alcohol beverage license to Lofberg Marketplace LLC doing business as Farm and Coast Market located at 7-9 Bridge Street. Said license shall not be transferable to any other licensee and shall not be included in the number of licenses issued under the authority in said Section 17. Section 2, the license authority shall not approve the transfer of the license converted pursuant to the subsection to any other location, but it may grant the license to a new applicant at the same location if the applicant files with the license authority a letter from the Department of Revenue and a letter from the Department of Unemployment Assistance indicating the license is in good standing with those departments and that all applicable taxes, fees, and contributions have been paid. Section 3, if a license granted pursuant to this section is canceled, revoked, or no longer in use at the location of the original issuance, it shall be returned physically with all the legal rights, privileges, and restrictions pertaining thereto to the license authority, and the licensing authority may then grant the license to a new applicant at the same location under the same conditions as specified in this act. Section 4, the act shall take effect upon its passage. This is why I'm not a lawyer. All right, so somebody want to make a recommendation? Somebody want to make a motion?
Motion to recommend.
Motion to recommend by John, second by Phil. Discussion.
Seems straightforward in its,
So-
AG wording.
So they're just changing the wording so that Farm and Coast can get a alcohol license. That's really what it comes
The one
down
they
to.
asked for last year that we
It's already
voted on.
approved.
They have a beer and wine license right now, and they want to offer more than beer and wine.
Yeah, no, I got it. And is the spokesman Peter Bullitt, is that the attorney? Is that the
Yeah,
attorney or is that
that's
the
the
owner?
attorney. Yes.
That's the attorney, okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I hear none, 600.
So that finishes the warrant.
Rationale?
Rationale. He went first, I didn't.
Janine, they constantly want to just
Gonna,
fly past you.
Well, we all have to approve them.
okay.
This article authorizes the Select Board to issue a non-transferable all-alcohol beverage license to Lofberg Marketplace LLC, doing business as Farm and Coast Market, located at 7 and 9 Bridge Street. Terms and conditions are detailed in warrant Article 27.
Yep, that's very well written, thank
So,
you.
Mr. Chairman, the articles that are left, 2, 7, 8, 9, 10, 19, 21, 22, 23, 25, 26. So we'll have the majority of those
Okay.
by next week. And next thing on the agenda is the priority ranking. I know Janine you had something to
I sent out the one that I updated, I think, yesterday to everyone. With
Can we bring it,
some notes,
can we bring it up?
a couple of things. Well, he doesn't, do you have it?
I might have a,
Or do you want me to put it?
you can,
Just give me the thing. Scary. because I didn't send the Excel spreadsheet out, I just sent out the PDF. Oh, thank you, Karen. Close some things. So, this is the list. We had lots of lively discussion last week on the list. And we ended up with 4 items. Those are the first 4 items that were considered to be worthy of bringing up in a possible joint meeting with the Select Board. And also, those are sort of the most important ones as of now. I know it's always subject to change. And then the others, just, I left them below alphabetical, non-ranked. So I don't know how we want to go forward with this, but I put in the notes ultimately of discussion points last week.
Okay, so, so topic, do you want me to just read them and then,
We don't have to read all 20, I'm sure.
no, I'm just talking about the top 4. Now, DCTV, will they show this, or do I have to read it?
No,
Oh, okay, all right,
It's on the screen as we speak.
all right, okay. So the number 1 topic, FinCom, improving communication with town meeting members, contacts FinCom and town administrator, create a town email address with no response allowed, cost of email address.
So that was the conversation ultimately, is that we need an email address that's sort of generic, that represents FinCom from the town. So it has to look like a town email address, and apparently there's a cost associated with it. That's where we sort of left off. The list of town meeting members is readily available from the town clerk whenever we're ready.
Yeah, so this could be used to send out, like, information to town meeting members, just updates or whatever, you know, not always maybe, but just when we want to get something out there.
Correct. The list isn't used right now. I mean, the information is gathered, but it's not used by the town clerk.
It's, this goes back to the idea that we've talked before about sending the minutes to everybody, and people weren't in favor of that because it's a lot. But you had suggested, I think, doing bullets, just saying.
Brian suggested that I do the bullets.
Okay.
That
So
was
the
very generous.
suggestion was to say these topics were covered, put the link for the meeting in and send that out. It's a way to get the word out there and also to invite people to come to these meetings. And the question was raised, who would do it? And my suggestion was that we make it one of the liaison jobs, just like we have
Yeah.
right now. Just make it, you know, town meeting communication.
And it would be a no response, so there wouldn't be questions being asked back.
Right.
It would simply be information out.
All right, so let me ask, so the town clerk has in her possession a list of emails for town meeting members,
Correct,
Yeah,
not all.
but for many.
for many?
Many.
And how about non-town meeting members?
Oh,
Well, there's been talk about including them too, but I don't know.
but she doesn't have them,
no,
that's not,
I don't know who would have,
Okay,
that's,
all right.
a major job to collect email addresses from the
Well, I don't know,
entire
is it
town
on
of
the
Dartmouth.
census? Is it on the
No.
once year?
well, the thing is that there are ways to get it, and I'm not sure if those means would be
Yeah, okay,
allowable,
okay.
you know.
All right, so town meeting
The
members,
system has it and things like that. but-
town meeting members, right? What did I kick?
Suggestion.
What?
You know, I've signed up for like text messages from the town, so like you can decide who you want text messages from, and you get alerts for like, you know, when there's a somebody at the library, like if there's an author at the library, or different things of that sort, I'll get text messages. So the website, our town website, definitely has the capacity of doing stuff like that, so we could just tag on to that. I mean, I don't know exactly how to do it, but if we connected with whoever the tech person is in town, there's gotta be a way to do it, because I'm getting it now. I've signed
kind of
up on
message are you
town.
getting?
I get text messages from the town all the time, and it was like a sign-up thing on the town website.
I only get ones for my tax bills. Oh, time to
I
pay.
subscribed to it. It was on the
It's on
town
the
website.
engagement portal,
Yeah,
the engagement portal.
it might be
Okay.
that.
And that's functioning?
I
only say
get
that
text
because I thought I
messages
signed up,
all
but-
the time.
It's
All
the
I get is
engagement
tax
portal, so
bills.
we could ask, you know,
I'll have to
Chad
go
this
back and
chance.
look on the town website to see what I signed up for, but I definitely did, and I was like, oh, this is cool, and I get alerts, you know, just, you can, yeah. Let me do more research on the town and see where I found it.
I think it's
but-
through the engagement portal, so if we loaded something on there, people would have to, you know, almost
Exactly,
subscribe.
you subscribe to it, so like people could subscribe to it, and then if they want to get updates from FinCom,
They can
they
grab
could.
it, yeah.
It's an idea.
Okay.
Yeah, no, good, it's a good idea.
Okay.
I just put in the notes.
Okay, so, but it would be a text, not an email?
Well, I mean, I would prefer an email, I don't know if there's a way of doing that,
Yeah, we have
but,
to see if the
Okay,
system allows
okay,
an email.
okay,
But
yeah,
they give you a text alert.
yeah.
They
right.
give you an alert that you have an email, or,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you can go read it.
Yeah, I mean, like 2 years ago, we did a straw poll at town meeting, and that was, I think, when we first started getting into the
Yes.
letter. And I think the straw poll, I was surprised at how many people, like, didn't care, you know?
Yep.
You know,
Well, they felt like they were getting enough
Enough,
information.
they were getting enough
Yeah.
information.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
They didn't want more, but they didn't want less.
Less,
which
yeah,
was-
yeah.
I get it. I think everybody here probably gets texts and emails from
Yeah.
1,000 people. So while it's a good idea, I have to
Fair.
think, how many text messages do I
Right.
want to get?
right, that's fair.
Because a text message to me is more pressing than.
Then an email, you
Than an
are
email,
right. Yeah, you are right about that.
usually.
And text messages don't have junk mail, right? They don't have.
Oh, you
you
can
can
get,
get
oh,
spam.
yeah, you
No,
can.
no, but I'm saying, you know, like, I have an email and it, you know, I have like priority stuff and then I have stuff that.
Spam.
Spam.
Yeah.
Oh, you can get spam in a
You can
text.
I know you can get it, but what I'm saying is, it doesn't go to spam.
No, it
Where you
doesn't.
Oh,
text.
no, you, unfortunately, you get it. I
yeah,
mean, you
okay.
can block it,
Yeah, okay.
do that on a regular
You
basis.
can report it as spam, but that.
All right, so,
from getting-
so we're gonna pursue this? We're gonna, okay. And so Gary, you're
Sort
gonna
of
get us a
in
little bit of
progress.
information about
Yeah,
the engagement, okay. Okay, 2, Dartmouth FinCom joining the Massachusetts Municipal Association of Town Finance Committees, FinCom Finance Director. Add to future FinCom agenda to discuss membership and conference attendance, determine costs, recommend FinCom budget line item of $1,200.
That was Gary's suggestion.
That's your suggestion, Gary?
yeah, we had discussion about, people attending, the MMA conference
And where are they?
and other conferences or meetings that the, Mass Association of Finance Committees would have. So
Okay.
we talked about it.
Let me-
The
12
annual is once a year up in Boston, that's a big conference
Okay.
and trade show. And then there's workshops throughout the year that are typically free.
Yeah, the workshops are free.
That,
I mean, you're not gonna send the whole
you
group
could
to the
do.
MMA.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Maybe a
If
liaison to
someone- if there's a topic somebody's interested in, they can go to the workshop. Or-
Just to circle back, I just did a little research.
Okay.
We're already on there. It's already on there in the minutes. You can subscribe for the minutes to be sent out,
Yeah,
apparently.
because the town's a member.
Yeah.
Right, that's good.
So it's,
It's just, do we want to participate?
Well, it's more
Budget to-
advertising to get people to use the platform.
yeah.
To look at
It-
the minutes.
I
That's
didn't
really
even
what-
realize it's already on there, because I don't get the
Yeah.
minutes on.
Yeah,
so
once we
whether I
post the
did-
minutes on, like, I'll post the minutes as soon as they're approved
Yeah.
online, so they're available online immediately.
I'll do a little more homework to see how you could subscribe to it or whatever. to
Oh, you're
see.
talking about getting ticks or whatever?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
no, just to see, like, is it already on there? Does this already exist and we just don't use it and we don't tell people about it? So I'll just do a little more homework on the website.
Because
Sorry,
right
I don't
off,
mean to
right off of
circle
our
back.
website, you can see the minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Number 3, grant writing.
That rose quickly to the top of the list as a priority discussion.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's the town administrator and select board.
Correct, but the suggestion was made
Yeah.
correctly that we can lobby for that because it was brought up in every discussion where we had our, I call them one-on-one meetings, but they really weren't. They were more like 4-on-1 meetings about the budget with the different departments.
There have been some grants left on the table because people didn't have
Correct.
time to write them.
I'm sorry, what did you mean by 4-on-1?
The meetings that we had with each department head,
Okay.
which are described as one-on-ones because they're normally Gary and the department head.
Oh, yeah,
had
yeah,
Like
yeah.
4 of us
Okay,
and Gary and the department head.
okay, I got you, okay.
The department meetings that we used to kick off the budget.
All right, but,
Anyway, everybody brought that up. It
Right,
was a good
so-
discussion.
so, at least this is my understanding, that grant writing is, the person responsible for grant writing is the assistant town administrator.
He
Am I wrong?
he does participate in grant writing, but I think from a lot of the conversations we've had with committees, even like, for instance, the opioid committee, substance abuse, it would be beneficial to have one centralized grant writer. I think that's really what we're hearing from multiple departments. That would benefit from, like I give the example, Kathy Stanley, energy manager. She's writing grants for, energy efficiency.
Yeah, yeah.
So on and so forth. So, almost like that one point person, and we've even talked of maybe sharing with other communities. So, almost like a regional approach.
So
Okay.
Bob, we had a lot of discussion on this. but,
Yeah.
I know I said, I think people agreed with me, but lobbying for a grant writer, I think would be extremely beneficial to the town. But not only lobbying for because we've had grant writers and before, as you say, that's one of the duties of the assistant.
Right.
There was a time when Deborah Molina Winder, her title, when approved at town meeting, was a grant writer / economic development person. What I'm saying, we lobby the select board to hire a grant writer again, but the position would be under the finance director. Because what we've witnessed with the grant writing duties under the select board have a number of priorities and fire drills, and that position gets dragged into
Yeah,
putting out fires.
I got
and
you.
not grant writing.
Well, they're volunteers, so.
And we're leaving money on the table, that if we just had somebody dedicated solely 100% to grant writing, no other responsibilities.
So why can't we subcontract that?
We could, and it doesn't have to be
Possibly.
employed, I mean, that's,
Okay.
and that discussion should be had, but
Yeah.
yes, that's a
Right.
possibility, we're not,
Yeah, we didn't come up with the
Right, we didn't say
conclusion to
how,
it,
who.
yeah.
No, when you said it was reporting to the finance rather than select board, that's why.
if that's
right.
if
Well,
that's the
that
route we
could
chose.
control
they
the
go down.
Yeah,
consultant.
yeah, yeah.
So, I just want to, Jenny, I just want to point out, the first two,
Yes?
in your comments, can you scroll up the possible topic? 1 and 2 is solely a decision by the finance committee. We don't need any approval from
No, but it wasn't,
the
a-
select board.
it just topic for
No,
discussion.
I'm just,
Not
so,
approval.
in my opinion, the grant writing, if we do have a meeting with the select board, that's where I like to focus
Oh, yeah.
my energy at. And not on the first two. If we're gonna discuss 4 items, I'd rather go down the list and, find another 2. But anything that's in our control, We don't need their approval or permission to do anything, we can just,
No, but I thought it would be worthy to mention.
Oh, mention it. I don't
activities we're
disagree
doing.
that.
I don't think, it's not gonna be more than a
we've
5-minute
identified through this
discussion.
process that we
Yeah, yeah.
are also
Oh,
doing
yeah.
these two things, and we have a whole list of priorities. I get it, yeah.
I think, my understanding during our discussion was we were coming up with agenda items. Some are more worthy than others for a lengthy discussion as grant writing,
With
for
the
sure.
select board,
With
yep.
the select board. These were just agenda items. Some are quick, some are way more important and more detail. That's why they're there,
Okay, and economic development,
yes.
again, that's town administration.
But we don't seem to be doing it, honestly, in any worthy manner.
And then there was no, to say, do we hire somebody, whether it's a consultant or internally, it was more of, what are we doing, what can we do, and put some minds together. It's like, where can we go with this, if anything?
Like the study that was done on the Route 6 corridor and what would be good to put there, but how do we follow up on that? How do, who makes phone calls and asks questions? And
When was that done, Terry?
Oh,
'Cause-
3 or 4 years ago,
Okay.
yeah.
Does it exist somewhere as a public document?
Yep.
On the
Let me see if
website?
I can find it, yep, because I sat in on the, I think I was the only person that sat on the Zoom meeting, so let me see if I can find it.
Because that might be worth looking at again. And I guess the question is, when was the last time that was looked at? Any thoughts?
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
I think probably 2018, 2019.
Okay, wow.
I think it was, I think that at this point, people say, when you ask about economic development, they say Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce isn't getting us anywhere, so we could envision maybe an agenda item for the select board, say what's going on, are there new business that have come into town, or something like that. But it was to try to make it an active conversation instead of just a checkbox.
Which no one seems to be checking.
All right, I mean, I think the city of Fall River may subcontract economic development.
Yes, they do, Office of Economic Development. It's
Yeah,
not part of the
because I
city.
remember Ken
Ken
Fiola.
Viola, yeah. It is it's technically,
Jazel threw him out of City Hall,
it's
and,
technically not a city department.
yeah,
It's,
quasi-government.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Do you want me to look into that, or?
well, yeah, I think with all these, that's the top four.
Yeah.
Correct,
Yeah.
right now?
So the recommendation I would make is that, while I'm looking, and I'll run this through the chairman of the board, that we have a joint meeting on the 21st, and as part of one of the agenda items, we
Okay.
include the four, recommendations from the committee.
So April
21st is a Monday,
21st?
yes.
So that's tentative, right? You're gonna let us know?
Tentative, it is on the draft agenda for the board at the moment.
Okay. So it'd just be us and the select board, and it's just a portion of their meeting, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
I can't be at that meeting, but
okay. All right, just at this point in time, everybody should save that date. Just save the date.
I haven't, I wrote it
Okay.
down. Can I make a suggestion about this list? Only because I'm looking at the time. There's 20-something items on here, and I did send it out to everybody to look
Yeah.
at. But because of the timing, I personally wanted to hear Terry's liaison report about the schools.
Okay, all right, we'll switch.
well, in
Suggestion.
my opinion, we're done.
Yeah, we're set, well
Just
set
the
with this.
4 items is.
No, but we have lots more we can, as you
Yeah,
know,
no,
we
we'll-
kicked around these
yeah,
for
let's-
No,
lots
but
of
this is
minutes last
what
week.
was voted on.
Yeah, okay.
Correct. And they should be discussed at a future time, but those are the focus. But
Okay,
yeah, I wanted to
alright.
get back to,
We can keep it on the agenda for,
Yeah, we'll hold off on the finance committee report to town meeting.
yeah, you, the
Well,
only reason I put it on there is just to kind of get us
Yeah,
thinking
okay,
about it.
start
Remind us.
thinking, okay. I
And,
appreciate giving us the last one.
Yeah, and we can talk about it next meeting.
All right, so liaison report, you want to talk about the schools?
Yes, so there's been an interesting development. I must have been really sick at the March 6th meeting, because I don't remember this, but apparently there was a question for the schools about coming up with a way to get away from the reliance on the school choice funding. In fact, Monday, and Carrie and I go to the school committee meetings. Monday night, I'm going to say 7 people, Carrie, 7 people talked.
Yeah.
Very emotional, that people, you know, holding signs, very upset about the proposed school budget, talk about rejecting it unless there's a plan for, you know, moving away from the reliance on the school choice money. So I think it was you that asked the question.
Yeah, so it was actually Beth who brought it up in one of the school committee meetings when they presented the budget.
Oh.
Beth on the school committee, what's her last name?
S. Coughlin.
Coughlin, yes, Elizabeth Coughlin. She brought it up, she mentioned a way of weaning the reliance on school choice. And then at our meeting, I was pretty upset, like, we can't continue doing this. And then Mr. Kiley made a proposal. Him and I went back and, we didn't really go back and forth. He sent me, because I was so upset from that meeting, and mentioned, is there a way of weaning off of school choice? And so he came back with, could you bring it up, Gary,
He basically proposed that every year for the next 5 years,
Yeah.
approximately $245,000 be added to the school budget,
right?
which would increase the budget by, I think,
I believe I sent it to everybody.
2.24%.
Yep, everybody received.
Yeah, I saw
We all
it.
had it because it was mailed.
Yeah,
And it's nice because, you know, from a conversation like that, it's like problem solving, it's pretty nice to see. So the school committee talked about it, they think that it's a good idea if other people think it's a good idea. Jim talked with Gary about it, and, you know, Gary's feeling is that if the human resources director is removed, which is, I think, $125,000, it could be
120.
doable. And it shows in this chart that you all got that
There it is.
after 5 years, they would not be reliant on that money anymore, and it would not devastate them. So they would still have some funding to do what they need to do, those one-time expenses. It does not solve the bigger issue of how underfunded the school district is. You've probably seen in the news 4 towns this week that are cutting between 9 and 15 staff each. North Attleboro, Hanover, Melrose, I think, because they're all in this position with the ESSER money where they hit that cliff, and staff that were funded through that money are going to be cut. So this was nice to see. I think it's a great idea. I also think it just sends a good message for us to have the human resources director working directly with the schools. We always say it'd be great if we collaborated between departments, but we don't do it very well, and that would be a good example of moving forward.
So I just want to point out that, you know, this plan, we're still, like you're talking about other districts, we're still cutting 11 jobs for the school department is still cutting 11 jobs this year. So we're still making huge cuts. And Bob has been talking and putting a lot of stress on actuals this year, and I love that we're doing that, because what are we actually spending? And for the school department, what they're putting in, what we're approving on our budget isn't actually what they're spending. They're spending $2 million more every year. And so when these funds run out, we're gonna, you know, they were talking about it's a bridge to nowhere, and it really is. It's a bridge to an end of a cliff. And what this does is it kind of, over 5 years, the budget will be what they're spending.
I thought this was going to fund some of their staff, though. I had to leave early Monday night, so So we have to get back to you on that, because I thought this plan would allow them to keep some of that staff and not, what they're doing
Has
with,
nothing to do with the 11 that they're letting go. Those 11 are still
they're
being let go.
repurposing positions and,
No, if they were to keep that 120,000 in the budget from the HR person, then perhaps they could keep 1.5
Yeah,
teachers.
yeah.
But aside from that, that's only if they keep that 120,000 in the budget, but don't have an HR person, then they would have that little extra to play with. But aside from that, this is literally just a plan to get them off of their reliance of school choice. Point blank, the goal of school choice budget plan is to return the Dartmouth Public Schools budget to a financially sustainable state that is free from dependence on school choice funds. Literally, that's all this is for. And I think it's great, like you said, it's showing the community that we care, but it's also not, it's a realistic plan, I feel like. And kudos to Mr. Kiley for coming up with the plan.
I mean, we very often have these problems and we say, oh, well, what can we do? And then the fact that people were able to be creative and, have professional conversations with each other and give and take, it was really nice to see that happen.
So I want to make sure I understand, they're not doing away with school choice, they're just doing away with funding salaries with school choice. They're still going to have school choice.
Yeah, so the
I
money
mean, it's a
would,
year at a time. Mr. Nunes always says, could be
What's
next
that?
year, they say no. It's a year at a time, so every
Yeah.
year they have to say yes or no,
Yeah,
but, yeah.
but school choice, they vote on it, but you can't,
Right,
if you want to get rid of school choice, you would have to do it over 4 years, because you can't throw kids out
That's right.
so it would be, the
Right.
600,000 would be 150,000 the first year, then it would be $300,000 the second year, and so forth
Yeah,
and
I
so
mean, it would
forth.
be based on
But,
what kids they have and what years, but that's the correct.
So they would
yeah.
use school choice money in the future for one-time expenditures?
yes, exactly,
Okay.
exactly,
Which is
Bob.
what they wanted to do, but they were in this position they didn't want to be in.
Yeah, so, using it for things like, they're talking about how they really need a new track. That's something that they could use that money for in the future. Like, once they get enough, they could, if they wanted to save it and then, have a goal, okay, this is what we're gonna use the school choice funds. That would be more reasonable, yes.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that we can support this plan and still come back to what do we do long-term?
So the school board is gonna revote their items? They have to vote that before we can even
So I've
look at
had
it?
conversations over the last couple of days with Jim Kiley, and we're working this out.
Okay.
And the net effect would be minimal for the 26 budget. So we're still working out those numbers, and that would have to probably go back to the school committee to get voted on.
They had the hearing Monday night. but they-
Monday night, yeah.
They didn't vote.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
I think
haven't,
it's the public hearing Monday night.
they haven't voted on anything yet.
No.
Okay, but the school committee has to vote to do this before we can vote on it, right?
They
Correct,
voted
'cause
this the last school committee meeting. They did take a vote and they all agreed that,
But their next meeting won't be until April.
yep,
Jim had given me so I think that's when they want to finalize it.
Well, I guess what my point is, this is the schedule, and then you have to incorporate this year into the Schedule A.
Correct, yes.
Right.
That's what Jim and I are working on right now, so that'll be finalized at their next meeting.
14th,
Yes.
Okay, okay,
And
and
then-
we'll
and-
vote,
and
we'll
then-
vote on that,
yep.
Yeah, so it'll
Based on-
adjust their budget by X amount.
so
Schedule A.
then we would have to vote on it once they get it into Schedule A.
Once I
guess.
put it into Schedule
So,
A,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
And that's one of the reasons why the budget is still open. That and the contractual agreements for all the unions. I'm trying to get that settled so that we don't have to do a warrant article in the fall. And
Okay.
we don't have to pay out retro. We can do it all in one fiscal year.
I just want to say that I think that what Gary has done this year with these conversations, we've seen in the past, conversations that have happened behind the scenes that have not been very pleasant. And you can tell that the conversations with the department heads and with all the people that are involved in this process have been pretty cordial, and they're solution-focused, which is really nice, I think.
I agree. Very much agree.
Good.
Because as a town, we need to work together for all departments to make sure everybody is getting the funding they need, and if not, then we need to work together to figure out, come up with a solution. There's always solutions.
Limits have to be set, but they've been set in a very positive way.
Yep. Agreed.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Okay, we're running out of time. Want to talk about minutes, or?
Yeah.
Okay. I got a thing from Elizabeth saying that one of the past minutes were incorrect.
Yeah, at the last meeting, we had minutes, so what I'm doing is sending Elizabeth the minutes prior to sending them out as a final.
Yeah.
So that, we're looking at them before they get voted on at the next meeting. So the last set of minutes that she had sent today were amended from a prior meeting, I think it was the 13th meeting. So the minutes you have in front of you are the amended minutes.
Okay,
Those are the minutes that,
from March 20th?
yeah, those are the minutes where I had no comment from the committee. So there's no comment from the committee, I send them out prior to ask for comments, if there's,
Do they need to be amended? Is that what you're saying?
well, no, because the committee never got back to me with any kind of changes.
Oh, okay.
So those are the minutes.
Okay, so, okay.
Yeah,
So these can be voted on?
yes,
But how about March 13th, is that
those have been voted on with amendments,
with amendments? Okay.
and that's what Elizabeth
Okay.
changed.
Okay,
Motion to approve the March 20th meeting minutes as written.
okay,
Second.
John Souza made a motion to approve. Terry made a motion, second it. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain, because I wasn't here. So that's 501.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned made by John,
A second?
second by Carrie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Next
None?
meeting, Thursday?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, thank you, everyone. Meeting closed.